And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Candidates Forum for the Detroit Mayor Primary Election. This forum is being held on Tuesday evening, July 27th, 2021, and will be recorded for later viewing. My name is Paula Bowman, and I'm the co-president of the League of Women Voters of Michigan. I will serve as moderator tonight. This forum is brought to you by the League of Women Voters of Detroit, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Tau Alpha Omega Chapter, and Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Detroit Alumni Chapter. At this time, I want to introduce our partners to tonight's forum. Speaking on behalf of the sorority Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Tau Alpha Omega Chapter is Jamila Taylor, Vice President. Ms. Taylor?
Thank you, Ms. Bowman, and good evening, everyone. My name is Jamila Taylor. I'm Vice President of the Tau Alpha Omega Chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I am again delighted to be here this evening in this third installation of what has been vital and very necessary information and introduction, as well as conversation regarding the mayoral candidates from Hamtramck and Detroit and Detroit City Council. It's very vital and important that we all become engaged as there's new faces in the political arena. And so thank you, League of Women Voters, for again allowing us to align ourselves with you. We want to welcome the candidates, the community members, and all those who love and support our beloved Detroit. We're again delighted to be partnering with the League of Women Voters, the Delta Sigma Theta Detroit Alumni Chapter, and all of those who are just interested in the political process. We are grateful for very factual, unbiased information that will be presented here. And again, I am just delighted to bring you greetings on behalf of our sorority and our chapter. I do want to take a moment to acknowledge our Connections Committee Chairwoman, Dolores A. Brown, who has continued to help us continue to strengthen the ties with the League of Women Voters, as well as those on her committee, Teresa Ratliff and Rhonda Orr, have been helping with these virtual sessions. Thank you to those women who are taking of their time, effort, and energy to make these meetings happen. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Taylor. And speaking on behalf of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, the Detroit Alumni Chapter, is Natalie Bienami, co-chair of the Social Action Committee. Ms. Bienami, your comments?
Yes. Well, hello and welcome to the Candidate Mayoral Forum. And we're just so excited to be here on behalf of the dynamic chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated Detroit Alumni Chapter. We bring you greetings on behalf of President Katrina Camp and over of our 900 members. We'd like to welcome you. I also would like to welcome and give some honor to our Chair of Social Action, Andrea Cartwright. Social action certainly is something near and dear to our sorority's heart. We are founded and based on social action, starting in 1913 with women's suffrage and voting. That's one of the reasons why we're participating in this event today. And we're certainly appreciative of our partners here with the League of Women Voters, as well as Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. This is certainly part of a three-part series that we have participated in, and we're certainly honored to participate in this event. We want to thank all of the mayoral candidates that are participating today, and we welcome you. We're looking forward to hearing the information that you'll be sharing in an unbiased fashion. The primary is coming up on August 3rd, and we want to encourage everyone to go out and vote. Certainly, we want to exercise our power in our voice and in our vote. Certainly want to let you know that we have partnered with the Michigan Mind nonprofit, and we have a link where you can pledge today that you will go ahead and vote, as well as receive an absentee ballot. If you're not a registered voter, you're welcome to register on that link. And one of our technical folks will put that in the chat. We certainly appreciate you and thank you again for having us and participating at this.
Thank you, Ms. Bienami. We'll go ahead and get started now. First of all, could everyone please mute themselves so that we can avoid the ambient noise in everybody's background? Thank you. The League of Women Voters is a national organization whose mission is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation of citizens in government. The League never endorses or opposes candidates or political parties. We believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion in all our endeavors, and we welcome all citizens, regardless of sex, 16 years or older, to become a member. There are 10 candidates running for one mayoral position. Voters in the primary election will choose one candidate, and the two candidates with the most votes will advance to the November election ballot. In alphabetical order, the candidates are Anthony Adams, Tom Joe Barrow, Kiawana Brown, Mike Duggan, Maya Jones,
I make
Jason
there be no
Charlotta
Yeah.
Guinness, Danetta L. Simpson, Art Tyus, and D. Etta Wilcoxon. All of the candidates were invited to the forum, and 6 have joined us tonight. Those not in attendance, and if these people have come on in the last few minutes, please let us know. Those not in attendance are Mike Duggan, Jason LaRosa, Danetta Simpson, and Art Tyus. We're pleased that the others could join us. The producer of tonight's forum is League of Women Voters member Deborah Bunkley. Our timer is League member Cheryl Bukoff. She will hold up a card when there are 30 seconds or 1 minute left, and candidates, you can see her. She's holding up the green sign. If you are making an opening or closing statement, she'll hold the sign up at 1 minute, then at 30 seconds. But if it's just a response to a question, it'll be the 30-second one. And then, of course, that wonderful stop sign at the end. When your time is up, you must stop speaking, even if you are in the middle of a sentence. The candidates are notified of this forum prior to the start of the forum. They will be called on in alphabetical order, but the questions will be staggered so that a different candidate will be the first person to answer each round of questions. Candidates will have 2 minutes for an opening statement, 1 minute to respond to each question, and 2 minutes for a closing statement. The questions we ask tonight are a mixture of questions prepared by League members in advance, as well as questions coming in from our live audience. And to our live audience tonight, we ask that you put your questions for the candidates in the chat box. Our partner members will review the questions and eliminate irrelevant, slanderous, or redundant questions. Please keep in mind that the moderator is in charge of the forum at all times. Candidates should not make personal attacks on other candidates or on current office holders. Such attempts will be cut short. The moderator's decision on this shall stand, even if the decision to cut off the candidate was made in error. Again, I will remind the live audience members, please keep yourself muted. And we're now going to begin with the candidates' opening statements. Mr. Adams, if you could introduce yourself and give us your 2-minute opening.
Well, good evening, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share my vision for the city of Detroit. My name is Anthony Adams, and I'm running to become mayor because we need a city that works for everyone. When you look at every indicator known to man, whether it's income, whether it's housing, whether it's minority participation, African Americans rank absolutely last at the bottom of all of those categories. What we have now is a city that does not work for everyone. We have districts that have been forgotten. And part of the issue that people discuss with me is how do we make government work for those who need it most? I'm running on a platform that's very progressive, that includes encompassing affordable housing, affordable water policies, making sure that we're able to incorporate our youth into learning programs and training programs, making sure that we can have contracting opportunities for people who need those contracting opportunities most, making sure that we have affordable programs for our seniors to stay in their homes, making sure that we can reduce the overtaxation that exists within the people who actually live in the city of Detroit. We've got to reverse and change the direction of corporate sponsorship, corporate tax abatements, which are taking money away from our educational society, which is taking money away from our children and our libraries. We have libraries that are closed because we have tax abatements that are taking money out of that process. And when you begin to look at how you educate and uplift your community, you clearly need to have strong education. You also need to have strong libraries that provide a digital access for those that don't have digital access. We also have to transform our transportation policy, making sure that we talk about mobility. How do we make sure that our disabled community is able to thrive and grow in our city? At the end of the day, we need a mayor who brings our community together, who is not divisive, and who works in the best interest of the people who live in the city of Detroit. My name is Anthony Adams, and I'm running for mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Mr. Barrow, your opening statement. Mr. Barrow?
He's unmuted himself.
Oh, you're muted.
There we go. There we go.
You go.
Yep, I've been sitting out there for a good while. So listen, thank you very much for the opportunity to participate with you today. I won't go with a canned speech, but I will say this, that I was born and raised here in the city of Detroit. I know who the League of Women Voters is. I know who Delta Sigma Theta is and who the AKAs are. I'm married to one. And I know the importance of being able to speak directly to the voters. I'm very much excited about this opportunity to address you. I'm uniquely qualified, having been born and raised in Detroit at the old Negro Hospital, Kerwood. My uncle Joe Lewis Barrow paid for my being born and also had his doctor deliver me. And so I carry his name, but I also carry his DNA. I'm a fighter for Detroit. I care about Detroit. I'm here because I know the significance and the influence of your organization, the Deltas, and the AKAs. I know what it means to talk directly to voters and to be able to walk amongst them and to let them reach out and raise questions and things to me. I'm not afraid of any part of Detroit. I'm comfortable. I take no segment of the population for granted. I'm out working to get votes from every single individual. I'm hopeful that the questions will allow me to get into my individual positions on issues and the like. I'm determined to take back that which so wrongfully was taken from us through the phony, fake bankruptcy. Having been appointed as trustee in bankruptcies by the United States bankruptcy courts, I know a phony bankruptcy when I see one. Detroit's was phony. And they've taken the resources of every Black city in Michigan, without exception, and busted its unions, privatized its services, and sold off its jewels. They did the same thing here to Detroit, but on a much grander scale. I am determined to bring the city together. We have two Detroits, and that's just the reality of it. We have one downtown, and we have one in the neighborhoods, one very much loved, and the other one very much neglected. I'm determined to bring this community together. I'm determined, regardless of your race and the hue of your skin, I'm determined to treat everybody properly and equally, and to provide you with the happiness that you deserve by being a resident of the city of Detroit. My name is Tom Barrow. I'm a real Detroiter, and I want to be your mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Brown, your opening statement?
I'm sorry to
Okay, I'm
interrupt.
here. Can you hear me?
Again, let me just interrupt 1 minute. I have to do something with this timing thing. It changed on me suddenly for some reason. So I'm going to be right back. Yeah, I'm sorry, I need a little assistance on this. I'm sorry about that.
Ms. Barrow, you can, or I'm sorry, Ms. Braun, you can go ahead. I will time you and hold up my hands when it's 1 minute and then 30 seconds. So go ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Well, I truly appreciate the opportunity to be here with you all. Again, I am Kiawana Brown, the People's Mayor, building the city God's way by putting God first and adding value to people. And I believe that you add value to people by helping to enrich their overall quality of life. I believe that the people of Detroit are our most important and valuable asset to our city. And so my focus is truly on building the citizens of the city of Detroit. I always share a conversation I had with a gentleman when I was getting petitions signed. And we kind of had a debate about what was most important to the city. And he stressed that money was the most important part of our city. But I beg to differ. Now, we do understand that money is important and we have to have money to run a successful city. However, people are far more valuable than money. And so we got to make sure that we put things in its proper perspective. And so my goal is to help to create a fair, just, equitable, righteous, and clean and safe society for all Detroiters to thrive, where we're putting people first and we're taking care of the people of the city of Detroit. Taking care of the people of the city of Detroit. Again, I am Kiawana Brown, the People's Mayor. And so who is the People's Mayor? I'm a native Detroiter, born and raised in the city of Detroit, educated in the Detroit public school system, graduated from Pershing High School. And shortly after graduation, I found myself facing death in the eye. I was on my way out of here, but God allowed me another opportunity. And so a year later, I gave my life over to the Lord, and he has radically transformed my life. I'm now fast forward married to the man of my dreams.
You've been muted.
Yes, okay. So been married to the man of my dreams, and also together we have 6 children and also a grandson. We're also the overseers of Transforming Life Ministries International right here in the great city of Detroit on the west side, located at Cinco. And my platform is based off of change for the city of Detroit, and change and leadership that's going to put the people at the forefront, that's going to make decisions and build policies based around the people. My campaign is ran on social justice, environmental justice. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Ms. McInnes, your 2-minute opening statement, please.
Hello, my name is Shalita McInnes, and I'm running for mayor of Detroit. I'm in my 18th year as a budget manager for the city of Detroit. I have been the second deputy fire commissioner of the city of Detroit Fire Department for 2.5 years under Dave Bean. I am a small business owner with the accounting and income tax business for the last 23 years. I am a licensed real estate agent for the last 21 years. I'm a lifelong citizen of Detroit, being graduated from Osborne High School, currently residing on the west side of Detroit. I have my bachelor's in accounting, my master's in business administration. I'm a single mother of 5. I have 3 biological sons, and I have a son and a daughter that I have had since they was 10 and 11. I want to make sure that we are increasing home ownership within the city. I want to make sure that we are having livable wages for our men and women that's in the city, that's coming home from returning citizens, as well as our current citizens here in the city of Detroit. I'm also encouraging make sure that we have resources out here for our youth. We're opening our recreation centers. I would love to put mental health centers in our recreation centers to support our family as well as our youth. As mayor, I want to shift companies with have a relationship with our companies to make sure that our citizens is making a livable wage. I want to make sure that we are providing resources for skilled trades, high school diplomas, or GEDs for our residents. And again, my name is Shalita McInnes, and I am running for mayor of Detroit. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Jones, I'm so sorry we skipped over you accidentally. Could you give us your 2-minute opening statement, please?
No worries at all. Thank you for having me. I am super excited to be here. I first want to say hello. Something keeps muting me, sorry. My sorors of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Detroit Alumni Chapter. Thank you for having me. When we talk about the mayorship of Detroit, Michigan, we have to also remember that it's about policy and policy implementation. And for a long time now, our government and the systems that have been put against us have been the enemies of democracy for so long, because they have the legal structure which has created policy to really oppress Black people. And our organizations all here today were founded based off of social action, service to mankind, and political responsibility. And we were founded by women. And we have to remember that women have been the backbone of society for a long time. My name is Maya Jones, and I'm running for mayor because I believe that we need to redress and eliminate a lot of the oppressive policy that has been implemented specifically here in Detroit. Detroit is still the blackest city in America. We have had the government and Democrats here for so long saying that they're going to be progressing Black people and people of color in our city. And for so long, we have been impoverished. Our educational system is gone. And a lot of our resources and our assets are gone. I am a technician. I am a Spartan, and I am a warrior as well. And I have been constantly fighting for the rights of not only just Detroiters, but people who have been oppressed by our system for a long time. I'm 26 years old, and people often look at my age and say that, oh, she's not experienced. But my life experience being a born and raised Detroiter, going through our school system, being raised in poverty, having a father who's in the system right now, who's incarcerated, has allowed me to see the systematic oppression that's happened and continues to happen in our city. It's time for us to not only change the policy that have been implemented, but also address systematic racism and oppression and white supremacy. I'm here not only to run for mayor and be elected this upcoming election, but also make sure that we bridge the gap between the youth and our older generation, and make sure that we come together as one to really push for effective policy. Not only do I talk about engaging youth, but my campaign is filled with youth who are active and engaged and want a chance to speak and be a part of the political process. My sorority itself was founded by young women who were between the ages of 18 and 25 who wanted to see a change and was active and engaged in making sure that they participated in the women's suffrage march. And even though they knew they wouldn't have the right to vote, they made sure that they were active and involved and went against the grain. So again, my name is Maya Jones, and I'm running to be the next mayor of Detroit, Michigan.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Ms. Wilcoxon, your opening statement, please. Hold on a second, you're still muted. There you go.
To the Delta, the AKAs, and the League of Women Voters, and good evening, Detroit. I'm Deetta Wilcoxon, contender for mayor. I am running to become the city of Detroit's first female mayor, not merely because I am a female, but because I am a competent and battle-tested female. I earned a bachelor's degree, a master's degree from the University of Detroit, and a law degree from Cumberland School of Law, all by age 29. I am battle-tested in that I have been in the trenches fighting for Detroiters for over 40 years now. I am responsible for taking the lawsuit to the Michigan Court of Appeals that resulted in 36th District Court being opened up so that there is access to residents. You may now take a writing instrument, a computer, a tablet, a cell phone into 36th District Court. I'm also responsible for suing the Pistons and the Illages for taking money from the school aid fund to build Olympia Stadium. My contention is that billionaires should pay for their own toys. Detroit's children, incidentally, cannot read at third grade level. And we know that third grade level is critical in that jail cells are built based on failures in third grade. Having taught from preschool to law school, I am uniquely qualified to understand the needs of Detroiters and how to correct the educational void that we have in our city. I'm also responsible for revealing the fact that Wayne County residents, in particular Detroit residents, are not required to pay a property tax in the event that they are income eligible. Many Detroiters lost their homes because they were not aware of the fact, were not notified that they were not required to pay property taxes. Again, my name is Deetta Wilcoxon. I am a contender for mayor. I am battle tested. I grew up politically on the knees of both Irma Henderson and Coleman Young. I was one of the last legal minds to work in Coleman's law department.
Thank you, Ms. Wilcoxon. Okay, we're going to start our round of questions now, and Mr. Barrow will direct this first question to you. What are the two most important issues facing the city of Detroit, and how would you address them? You have 1 minute to respond.
I think the first thing we do, because of my unique background as that of having participating as a certified public accountant, first thing I got to do is get my arms around the operation. I believe we have a tremendous amount of resources coming through here. I think the overassessment of the $600 million property taxes has stolen generational Black wealth, which should be passed down to the children. I intend to provide homeowners and those who were affected with equity, and also to compensate those who are unfairly losing their homes. I'm going to issue an immediate moratorium on tax foreclosures. I'm going to change the paradigm and reimagine policing. There's just a tremendous number of things that we can do, and hopefully with my involvement in the election reform and Proposal P, having written that section, I'm hopeful that people will pass Proposal P, because I have provided transparency in everything they've been concerned about with our election.
Thank you. Ms. Brown, your response?
Hi, so the issue that I believe that, the issue that I'm most passionate about is community revitalization. I believe that our neighborhoods and our communities that the people actually live in are what enhance our city as a whole. When we take time to make an investment in the neighborhoods and in the communities where people work, live, and play, then we'll see a more stronger and more viable city. As I travel this city by foot and car, I see neighborhoods that are stripped, that have been defunded, have lost schools, recreations, parks, libraries, have even lost police departments, have lost banks and grocery stores and just different businesses, things that every neighborhood need or every community need in order to be thriving and a viable community. I believe that as we stabilize our communities and make sure that we provide the necessary tools and resources to our communities, then we'll see a more viable and more stronger city as a whole. And so that's one of the areas that I'm very passionate about. Education is another one as well too. I know that education, that the school board is responsible for education, but I believe that the mayor's office can work closely with revamping our education system. Our students in the city of Detroit have been behind the curve when it comes down. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Our next responder will be Ms. Jones, and I'm giving this just a few seconds so she can be spotlighted on the video. Ms. Jones, your response to that question, and at this point I'm going to repeat it. What are the two most important issues facing the city of Detroit, and how would you address them?
So the two biggest things, in my opinion, when it comes to Detroit is access to resources and the opportunity. So when we talk about racial and economic justice, we're talking about the overall quality of life here in Detroit. So we all know all the things Detroit needs: affordable housing, access to affordable water, making sure our streets are clean, safe, jobs and economic opportunities to the citizens of Detroit, which has not been happening. So when we talk about politics is very simple. It's about who has control of the resources and opportunities and who are they giving them to. And for so long, Detroiters have not had access to those resources and opportunities that have been given to people who are outside of Detroit. Let's take, for example, when we give the big tax breaks to the corporations. 50% of those jobs are supposed to go to Detroiters, but what have we been seeing over and over again? That us Detroiters, specifically Black people, have not had that access. So as the mayor of Detroit, I'm going to ensure that we have policy, and I'm going to keep talking about policy, implemented to make sure that we, specifically people who have been oppressed for so long, have access to gain equity and close the opportunity and educational gaps and even
Thank
economic.
you, Ms. Jones. Thank you. Our next responder will be Charlotta McInnes. And in just a second, we will have her give her 1 minute response as soon as she is spotlighted. There you go, Ms. McInnes, go ahead.
Yes, one of our main issues, we need to make sure that we sustain our residents and tax base by increasing home ownership, by making sure the budget supports safe neighborhoods, making sure that Detroit residents have the first opportunity to purchase the land bank homes, and also safety, making sure that we're encouraging our police officers to get more involved in our neighborhood watch associations and to empower citizens and hold officers accountable for their actions. We want to have respect between our citizens and those who patrol our streets of Detroit. Safety for all should be our number one concern. Also encouraging citizens and returning citizens to take advantages of resources by ensuring information is available on obtaining a GED, skill training program, career readiness, and other areas that will create citizens to be employed in jobs or careers that provide a livable wage and to reduce the number of people that's living in poverty.
Thank you, Ms. McInnes. Our next responder will be Ms. Wilcoxon. We'll give a second here for her to appear on screen. There you go, Ms. Wilcoxon, your response?
The most pressing issue facing the city of Detroit is the absence of faith or trust in government. And we fix that by making certain that the water drainage fee is completely eliminated, that blight removal becomes home restoration, that we look at the community block grant and restore it so that it is a grant for our senior citizens to repair their homes, so that we are looking at a Detroit with a drastically reduced rate of crime. We are looking at a Belle Isle wherein the island belongs again to the residents of the city of Detroit and is free to us. That we are talking seriously about joining the national conversation relative to reparations. We must be about the business of hiring Detroiters for jobs that are created within the city of Detroit. Detroit needs a strong mayor with a strong backbone. It is her time.
Thank you. Mr. Adams will be our last responder to this question. And let's give it a second. Mr. Adams, go ahead. Oh, hold on a second, you're muted. So in a second, start over.
Okay.
There you go.
Great. The two most pressing issues are crime and neighborhood stabilization. Crime because it impacts every aspect of life in our city. And we also understand that crime is a direct byproduct of the high poverty levels that exist within the city of Detroit and how we actually police ourselves. I believe that we've got to be much more intentional in intervening proactively and addressing at-risk youth so that we can provide them with programming and services that they need. And then some other aspects of community policing, such as incorporating mental health services, social work, and the like, in order to be more proactive in what we do. I think the second aspect of it is neighborhood stabilization. We have a lot of programs that are designed to bring Detroiters in, people into Detroit, but we have very few programs that are designed to help Detroiters stay in their homes. The best blight strategy is to keep people in their homes and to keep them from moving out of the city because they can't afford to live here because of high drainage fees and high taxation.
Thank you. We'll start this third question, or for second question, with Ms. Brown. Ms. Brown, do you support proposal P that would revise the city charter? Why or why not? And let's give us a minute to get you on screen.
Okay, you guys can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but
Oh,
you're not on
okay.
screen yet. So hold on a
I'm
second.
not? Okay.
Okay, go.
Okay. Okay, so yes, I do support proposal P. Again, with me being Brown, the people's mayor, anything that is supportive of the people of the city of Detroit, I'm in support of it. And so I do support proposal P. There was another question you asked me. Can you repeat that question, please?
It was, do you
like
support proposal P that would revise the city charter? Why or why not?
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, pretty much. But yes, I do support proposal P. Like I said, in regards to the fact that I like the fact that it allows the residents or the citizens of Detroit to have more of a voice when it comes down to decision making, when it comes down to where the money is going to be, where the money goes and how our city is ran. I think that is definitely an asset to the city. Anything that will allow the people to come from oppression and to have a seat at the table and also have a voice when it comes down to decision making, I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. Our next responder will be Ms. Jones, and let's give it a second.
Okay.
We'll get her on screen. There you go. Ms. Jones, your response?
Yeah, I am definitely in support of proposal B, and I have been on the ground, me and my team, to ensure that people are voting yes for the proposal. For 2 years ago, the citizens of Detroit voted to have a revision of our city charter, and we have to make sure that we are able to vote on whether we want to implement it. It's going to make sure that our voting rights are protected, responsible contracting, overtaxation reimbursement, neighborhood investment, affordable water, affordable transit, politician accountability. Fair contracting, again, is a big thing in our city. Fair wages for city workers, reparations for Detroiters, and repairing our infrastructure, and also protecting pensioners. So all of these issues are what's going to happen if we vote in proposal P on the revision of our city charter and make sure that decision-making and power stays within the people of Detroit.
Thank you. Ms. McInnes will answer this question next about whether or not she supports proposal P, the revised city charter. Let's wait for her to get on. There you go, Ms. McInnes, go ahead.
Yes, I support proposal P, but at the same time, I feel that there are some good qualities as well as there are some things that I'm not in agreement with. I feel that the administration should can make up their own decision of who they want to appoint in for police chief as well as fire commissioner. At the same time, with they want to create new departments for reparations and fire commissioners and other different departments. I feel that it can be done. We cannot really afford to incorporate new departments with new directors, deputy directors, and a full staff. I feel that those departments could be incorporated in a current department that we have, maybe human rights, where we can put a general manager over those particular functions, not just create all new departments. But again, the proposal P is the people's charter, and I'm in agreement of it, and I support it.
Thank you, Ms. McInnes. Ms. Wilcoxon, you will answer next. And go ahead, please.
I am an overall supporter of Proposal P. Proposal P is something that I worked on with the Charter Commission, having attended most of their meetings pre-pandemic. Proposal P has a number of commissions for police, for reparations that it has set up. And those committees are slated to work with the legislative branch as well as the executive branch to iron out some of the particulars in terms of how Proposal P will be implemented. One of the first things I'm going to do as mayor is to meet with my law department to figure out how to help the Charter Commission, along with the City Council, to work out a charter that is in the best interest of Detroiters, that is affordable, and that can be implemented legally.
Thank you. And Mr. Adams, we will ask in a second for your response to whether you or not you support Proposal P. There you go.
Absolutely. A document that was worked on by more than 400 organizations throughout the city of Detroit, brings together, I think, one of the most progressive platforms to set a clear vision for how we can make our city affordable, how we can have our citizens equally involved in all aspects of government, and allows the people the chance to really have a representative of democracy, which is the core of what we need in our city. People being able to communicate, people being involved in the decision-making process, people actually determining how money should be spent within a broad framework of establishing a lot of great goals and objectives. And so I emphatically support Proposal P because I believe that it represents the best of what we should strive for in our city. We need to do things that it encompasses all of our people, that gets us involved in everything that happens and allows for a great transparency, which is severely lacking in government today.
Thank you. Mr. Barrow, your response, please. Give us a second. Go ahead, please. Unmute, first unmute. There you go. Well, there.
I absolutely support Proposal P. Candidly, the person who should be answering this question directly, because all of us, we already know all of us support Proposal P. The one who should be answering this question is absent. I actually participated in the overall process because I'm a real Detroiter, having been born and raised here and educated here. I actually attended these various meetings. I actually literally wrote the section on election reform on the city clerk's office. I've done multiple recounts, and I know what I've been discovering, which finally the state of Michigan finally acknowledged, and as did the federal government finally acknowledged with regards to the elections last year and before. Yes, I support it. I'm actually spending my own money advertising for it. My volunteers are walking door to door in support of it, getting people to vote yes for Proposal P. To ask simply the question is, who's funding all this no on P? Where's that money coming from? Yes, I support it. I advocate people to vote for it. It's a people's charter. It is what's good for us and what's good for the quality of life of the city of Detroit.
Thank you, Mr. Barrow. Ms. Jones, we will start this next question with you. Some of Detroit's most vulnerable citizens are those who have lost their homes and are now squatting or otherwise homeless. How would their unique set of problems be handled? How should their unique set of problems be handled?
Well, I think first of all, with the land bank, we have too many properties that are not being occupied right now, so we shouldn't have homeless in Detroit at all. We need to focus on restructuring the land bank or dismantling it altogether to eliminate homelessness altogether. You have people who have been overassessing their property taxes who deserve tax credits, and people who have lost their homes due to the overassessment need to have properties that are of quality given to them to eradicate homelessness. The demolition of properties and the eviction of people who have been kicked out of home has only created blight in our city and increase poverty. So we have to make sure that these people have access to a good quality of life. That means ensuring that they do have a home to live in and a roof over their head, and figuring out how the city can assist them and ensure that they have the funds and means to really keep a roof over their head. So the city needs to start working for the people and not against the people, because too many people outside of Detroit and outside of the country have access to housing on pennies on the dollar and are not taking care of them. So we have to focus on our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McInnes, we will ask for your response next. Hold on a second, please. There you go. Please go ahead.
I believe there shouldn't be any citizen in the city of Detroit that's homeless or hungry. We should make sure that our Detroit residents have the first opportunity to purchase these land-based homes. And for our residents that end up losing their home during the overtaxation of their tax and they've lost their home, they should have the first opportunity to get one of these land bank homes so that they will not be out here homeless and living on the street. So again, I want to make sure that our citizens are utilizing these homes instead of these corporations outside of the state as well as the country purchasing these homes and sitting on them.
Thank you.
But when
Thank you. Ms. Wilcoxon, we'll ask for your response next.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I did that much too fast. I'm sorry. So I apologize. We should have had about 30 more seconds on that.
Ms. McInnes, would you like another 30 seconds to respond?
I'm just saying that our citizens should be able to have the first opportunity to purchase these homes instead of these corporations outside of the city that's sitting on them and not making the repairs. And when they do make the repairs, they're charging these enormous rates of rent. But again, I would like our citizens to have the first opportunity to purchase those homes.
Thank you. Sorry about the goof there.
No problem.
Ms. Wilcoxon, we'll ask for your response next. Hold on for just a second. There you go.
I am not one, and Detroit knows that I am not one to shoot from the hip. First, I want a complete analysis of how it is that the city of Detroit went from being the largest homeowner city in the country to one of the largest renter-based cities in the country. We have overcharged people by way of property taxes to the tune of almost $1 billion. We have placed a water drainage tax on the residents of the city of Detroit. How do we get people back into homes? I want to know why they lost their homes. A number of people who lost their homes weren't supposed to pay taxes at all. They were exempt from property taxes, but there was no notice on the part of the city in terms of the fact that they were not to pay property taxes. So I want a complete analysis of how people lost their homes. I want a tracking to figure out where those people are. And I want to figure out how we can do housing infills and put those folk back into homes.
Thank you. Mr. Adams, we will ask for your response next. Hold on for just a second. There you go.
Certainly. So what's got to be done is, to the extent that someone is in a house squatting that they lost as a result of tax foreclosure, they simply need to be given that house back. It's real simple. To the extent that someone's lost a home and is living in a house that they did not own, they need to be given affordable housing dollars necessary to uplift and improve the quality of life in that house in that house. Part of the issue here is that we're not spending our affordable housing dollars in a manner to help stabilize both people that have lost their homes as a result of overtaxation, as well as people who are living in homes that they lost as a result of overtaxation. We've got to be much more aggressive in moving forward and using our affordable housing dollars, because too many of our dollars are being spent on leveraged housing projects that are being built in downtown Detroit at income levels that most Detroiters simply cannot afford, when the average salary of a Detroiter is $27,000. So we got to flip the script, use our dollars much more effectively to put people in homes that they've lost, as well as allow people to use those affordable housing dollars to improve the quality of home from the land bank itself.
Thank you. We'll hear from Mr. Barrow next. Hold on for just a second, please. Okay, Mr. Barrow, unmute, please.
Thank you. Detroiters have gone from being the largest city with the most single-family homeowners in this country, Black single-family homeowners in this country, to now being a large city of renters. That's not an accident, this whole $600 million overassessment. This is a plan designed to drive Black folks out of Detroit. Detroit, we have to acknowledge the reality of this. They stole intergenerational wealth with this overassessment and then telling us there's nothing they can do about it. Many of the people who are now squatting in these houses actually owned these houses in the past, but they've been losing their houses as a result of these phony tax foreclosures. Detroiters have got to understand that until you have a real Detroiter, somebody who relates to you and understands you running this operation, it's going to continue to be this way. I'm going to shut down this corrupt land bank. I'm going to then get rid of these authorities that are effectively demuting you as people of the city of Detroit. Going from cubic feet and now bidding on cubic feet versus square feet, that's a crime in progress. It's time for us to change this entire paradigm.
Thank you, Mr. Barrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, we have Ms. Brown. Hold on for a second. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, real quick, can you repeat the question for me, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Some of Detroit's most vulnerable citizens are those who have lost their home and are now squatting or otherwise homeless. How should their unique set of problems be handled?
Okay, thank you so much. So yeah, following the whole overtaxation of people losing homes because of that, if that's a reason, we know, of course, homelessness happens for various reasons, but looking at the overtaxation of the city, we should certainly recompense those people. And so meaning that there should be a payback for what has happened to them, making sure that we get them in homes, because we have a slew of homes throughout the city that we can certainly put people in. So get the people who've lost their homes into homes and make it affordable for them, and then give them some tax relief as well too. There's money out there, there's money coming in, and we need to take care of those who have been really robbed by the city of Detroit. It's our obligation and duty to make sure that we take care of them. And then if we're looking at homeless, you got people that are under viaducts and all different types of situations. We have a boatload, again, of properties throughout the city, schools and things like that we can take and revamp, revitalize those buildings, turn them into shelters that will provide for homeless people, provide their basic needs that they need, but then also make sure that we stabilize them and put them in a position. Okay.
Thank you. Ms. McInnes, we will start this next question with you. How would you address the increasing violence in the city? Hold on for just a minute. Let's get you on screen.
Who is that question being directed to? I'm sorry.
To Ms. McInnes. There you go. Please go ahead.
How are we going to work on the increase in violence? We want to make sure that we have a good relationship with our police department and make sure that they are out here working with our youth, as well as working with our prosecutors, that when someone is out here committing a crime, that we make sure that that prosecutor is keeping those individuals in prison and not letting them out to continue wreaking havoc on our community. Because our citizens, as well as our rest of our senior citizens and our citizens, shouldn't have to live in fear within our own city. And I want to make sure that our police officers have a relationship within the community with our residents, because we cannot continue to let this crime go on. We want to make sure that we are working diligently in our streets, having our police officers on the grounds, patrolling 24 hours a day. We're going to make sure that they are there. And
thank you, Ms. McInnes. Ms. Wilcoxon, we'll start with you next. Give us a second here. Please go ahead.
The city of Detroit's police department is broken. I am not a proponent of defunding the police. I am a proponent of totally revitalizing the police department. Police officers under a Wilcoxon administration will be community oriented. They will actually be out in the community. They will get to know residents and residents will get to know them. We want our residents to respect police officers and our police officers to respect residents. The first order of business will be de-escalation. Police officers will be paid a better wage. Currently, we have the outgoing chief of police earning almost $300,000 per year, all of his top brass making six figures, while most of the police officers on the street earn a meager wage. That will change under a Wilcoxon administration. We need police officers in order to keep us safe, but we need decent, professional police officers on the street, and they will be community policing.
Thank you. Mr. Adams, we will have you up next in just a second. Please go ahead.
In order to address the endemic gun violence in our community, we also have to recognize that we have an endemic levels of hopelessness and helplessness with a lot of our at-risk youth, at-risk men in our community. And so part of how you address this issue, you have to engage the at-risk youth, the at-risk men, and provide them with an opportunity to change their lives, to change their path forward. You do that by going out and being much more aggressive and intervening and bringing programming and services to these men, showing them that there is an opportunity in a different way that they can live their lives, putting them in an opportunity to enhance their educational skills, because we know that we've had for a long time bad education as a result of state management of our education system. At the end of the day, we have to address the gun violence by addressing the underlying issues of why people are committing crimes in our community. There is a sense of hopelessness that we have to address, and we only get there by engaging them much more progressively in a community intervention manner.
Mr. Barrow, we will start with you next. Give us a second here. Okay, go ahead.
I'm one of those who doesn't happen to believe in defunding the police. I want a cop to come when I call. But I am going to reimagine policing. I am committed to residency. I'm committed to, if you work for the city of Detroit, you need to live here. I believe that much of the crime, a lot of the crime that we have, although we got some pretty extreme folks that are committing some of these crimes, but a lot of it also results from the lack of people being on their medication. They're having psychiatric episodic breakdowns. I'm going to reimagine and put into every police precinct health officers and social workers who will respond to certain kinds of calls. I'm going to open up schools, and then I'm going to turn them into training centers for plumbing and heating and cooling and printing and all of those trades that can earn a good living. Self-esteem is a big problem for many of our young Black males. I'm going to change that paradigm. Also going to open up some of these closed libraries and turn them into computing centers for the neighborhoods so that senior citizens and others can have access to the internet. Almost 50% of us don't have access to the internet, and let it be manned by neighborhood geeks. So I'm about to change the entire paradigm here in the city of Detroit.
Thank you. Ms. Brown, we will start with you next. Hold on just a second. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, so we all know that making our city safe is a necessity. We, in the United States of America, there's 19,495 city, towns, and villages. Out of almost 20,000, there is a list of the 100 most violent cities, and the city of Detroit has been number one for 2019 and 2020. Of course, the stats have not come in for 2021 yet. And so we know that we need to release some aggressive measures in making our streets safe again. There's a few things we need to do. We need to enhance our police policies and procedures. We need to make sure that we have adequate funding for the police department. The police department has suffered a drastic loss. There used to be thousands, roughly about 5,000 officers, and it's cut in half. Matter of fact, less than half now. And so we don't have proper staff, first of all. We need to make sure that we have proper working equipment, and also we need to make sure that we have proper, just ongoing quality training for our police department. We need to merge the police and the community together, increase police visibility, increase our community policing, making sure that we have a relationship and establish relationships between the community.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Am I done? Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm done. Ms.
Okay.
Our final responder is Ms. Jones. Hold on just a second till we get you on the screen.
Could you repeat the question as well, please? Thank you.
Sure. I'm gonna flip back up to it. How would you address the increasing violence in the city?
So people often talk about policing when we talk about decreasing violence. Nobody ever talks about poverty. If we remember back then when we were emancipated, a bunch of policies were put into place to keep Black people enslaved and to have free labor because our Constitution allowed it. We need to talk about how Black activity has been criminalized. So you have blank while being Black. Many things that we people do while being Black, we have to remember Detroit is the Blackest city in America. There is no coincidence that every city that has high poverty rates also has high crime rates. People are literally in survivor mode. Black mental health has been criminalized. Everything has been criminalized. Again, my father is incarcerated now. When he doesn't have access to a job, housing, affordable anything, what do you expect them to do when they don't have access and opportunity? They serve their time. Let's talk about restorative practices. We don't have 1 minute is not enough time to talk about this, but we have to remember that slavery is the basis of the jail system, and they invest into prisons instead of our schools too. So when we talk about decreasing crime, we have to also talk about decreasing poverty as well.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Next question, we'll start with Ms. Wilcoxon. The ability of Detroiters to fully use their political power, both by increased representation and increased federal and state funding, requires a much better response rate on the census. But the response rate on the past census, the most recent one, was just over 50%. What would the candidates do to help keep this from happening again in 2030?
We need a mayor who understands that it is her responsibility to make certain that Detroiters respond to the census. This mayor was asked any number of times by the African-American community to advertise in African-American outlets, and he refused. One of the best ways to touch the community is to advertise through people who are in the community. Secondarily, in order to increase our numbers, not only the people who are responding to the census, but to increase our numbers so that we have higher census numbers, I have introduced a proposal to roll out the red carpet to all of our suburban neighbors who have moved out of the city of Detroit. I want them to come home. I have asked them as much. I've spoken with a number of them who would love to come back to the city of Detroit. I am offering them a safer Detroit with a better quality of life. We will increase our numbers, and we will increase the amount of federal dollars that are poured into the city of Detroit as a result of them coming back.
Thank you. Mr. Adams, we will take your response next. Hold on just a second. Please
So
go
in
ahead.
order to have an effective response, you have to have effective engagement of the community. Part of the issue is a disconnect between the administration and the community, and working with community influencers, whether you're working through our churches, whether you're working through community activists, whether you're making through social justice advocates. Part of the issue is you got to bring everybody to the table to include them in the process, to go in every nook and cranny in our community where people exist. That was not done. And so in order to have a robust engagement, you've got to work the community. You've got to work the people who people trust. Whether we have issues in the immigrant community and the Southwest community, you've got to work with people who actually work with that community, or the homeless community. You've actually got to work with people who do that work. I think if you engage the community influencers in a manner that embraces them, I think we'll get a much better response in getting people counted here in the city of Detroit. Thank you.
Thank you. We will go to Mr. Barrow next. Hold on just a moment. Go ahead, Mr. Barrow.
Yes, look, we can't keep protecting this man. He doesn't come to any of these to the forums. He doesn't speak in the face of the voters. The reason the census was not responded to is because people don't trust this man. When Coleman Young was mayor, he made sure that we responded to the census because he explained to them the significance of not responding and how we will lose our federal dollars. This man didn't raise a finger for last year for Joe Biden. We went to the polls on our own. Didn't raise a finger to organize and advertise in Black media. And as a result, we see the effect of it because there's a closet Republican sitting there that's governing us. It's time for the people of the city of Detroit to recognize that we've got to have a mayor who's not afraid to walk amongst the neighborhoods, walk amongst the people. We need a mayor who looks like us so that people
Mr. Barrow,
can be inspired.
Mr. Barrow, would you please refrain from disparaging your opponent and talk about what you will be doing?
I just did.
Thank you. Our next responder is Ms. Brown.
Okay, so so people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, or people perish for a lack of knowledge. I think one of the things that we need to do is we need to start early. Simply put, we need to get out there ahead of time, not right before the census, but even starting as early as when one census ends, and we're starting and we're educating people. People just don't know. And so when you don't know, you are negatively impacted by what you don't know. We have to get out there and inform the citizens. I met a gentleman recently while canvassing, and he had mentioned that back in the day, cars used to drive up and they would jump out and they would educate the people on the different things that were on the ballots and things like that, so that they knew how to properly vote, or how to, cast their votes and things like that. And so there's a lack of that. Even when you go out here with the proposal P, people just don't know. And so we have to educate our people, because we are perishing and we are destroyed by what we don't know. So start early, get out there, inform the people, get into the schools, advertise it, just like we have all these proposal P advertisements throughout the city. Advertise the importance of having completing the census and the benefits of why we need to complete the census.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. We will start next with Ms. Jones. Your response to that question?
So not to repeat a lot of things that my colleagues have already said, but the biggest things that we're repeating is the theme of accountability and also trust in our government system, which is something we haven't had in a long time from the city level to the federal level. I think it's important that we think about the candidates who we are looking at and figure out who's going to be that candidate who's going to really push for change and progress in our city, not just by talking the talk, but also walking the walk. Who has a history of making sure that they're engaging Detroiters, being accountable, make sure they're putting Detroiters first. I believe that's what we need to figure out when it comes to making sure that in 2030 that people actually fill out the census, because the person who is in office has gained the trust of the people. We have to remember that trust and accountability and transparency are three important different qualities that we have to have in our government system. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Ms. McInnes. Hold on for just a moment. Go ahead.
You have to be able to relate to the community and be out there and engage the community and let the citizens know the significance of completing the census and how it will affect the resources and the funding to the city. So the community is not trusting the government. So you have to be able to relate that to our citizens and let them know how it's going to affect them personally.
Thank you. We'll start this next question with Mr. Adams. Mr. Adams, what would you do to increase the COVID vaccination rate for residents?
Hold
on just a minute. Let's get you on screen.
I'm trying to get that minute in quick.
Yep. Go ahead.
The same issue that we have with the census is the same issue we have with the COVID, is that community influencers were engaged too late in the process. And there clearly was a lack of trust in the administration, but there also was a lack of trust in the public health service because of the history of how Black folks have been mistreated by the public health service. We should have gotten out much earlier and much more aggressive in bringing community influencers together, but we should have also included a plan of how we get people healthy, understanding the underlying health conditions that severely impacted the people that live in the city of Detroit. There should have been a co-responsibility. Let's talk about vaccination, but let's also talk about how we get people healthy here in the city of Detroit. I think if we had combined the two and made it much more engaging and used community influencers and churches and street people, we would have gotten a much higher response rather than a lackadaisical approach to how we address the problem.
Thank you. Mr. Barrow, we'll have you go next. Hold on for just a moment. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm married to a doctor, and she believes very much in the science, and she makes sure that I understand the science. My son and 21-year-old son, he's had both shots. My daughter, 26, she was also a second-year med student at Wayne State University Med School. She's had both her shots. I've had both my shots. It gets down to trust. Detroiters will respond to people who they trust. And I truly believe that if we had a mayor, a Detroiter a real Detroiter mayor who Detroiters knew and understood came from them and lived the life that they live, Detroiters would respond perhaps in a different way. I'm not for forcing folks. It's an individual personal decision, but I believe very deeply in the science, and I don't want to see my citizens die or get sick and their families and their generational wealth being destroyed and everything they work for being lost. I would encourage it.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Ms. Brown. Hold on for just a second. Go ahead, Ms. Brown.
So I would have to echo, I love what Anthony Adams said. Again, just raising awareness. You know, you have to teach people, first of all, there's a breakdown in the trust between government and civilians. And so making sure that we're properly educating people and that they trust us is the first and foremost thing when it comes down to rolling out. You know, we are creatures of habit. And so we like to go with what we're familiar with. And so when you're rolling out something that's unfamiliar, people are not really quick to adapt to it. And so you got to have a new message, a new way, be relatable, but also be trustworthy as well too, so people can understand that, you know, again, I trust the messenger that the information is coming from, and just getting out there and raising the awareness and doing it in such a way where people are comfortable with receiving the information as it's coming across.
Thank you. Ms. Jones, you will respond next. Hold on just a second. Go ahead, please.
So I want to start off by saying that I am fully vaccinated, and so is everyone eligible in my household, but I do not believe in forcing anyone to do anything that they don't want to do it themselves as an individual with their health. I do, though, tell my friends who are young that we have been getting vaccinated our entire lives to go to school, and we don't often make that correlation. We already talked about trust and education and letting people know about awareness, but let's talk about preventative measures as well. Detroit is a food desert. We have a lot of food insecurities. So let's talk about how can we prevent people who have mostly died from COVID, has been people who have immune systems that are not up to standard, and then also have not been able to battle it. So how can we make sure that we have access to quality food, fresh food, clean air, and all the things that really hurts our health here in Detroit? We have to focus on not just being reactive, but proactive when it comes to being healthy and our overall quality of life. Quality of life also means our health and mental health as too. So let's talk about those as well as trust and education.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. We'll start, our next responder will be Ms. McInnes. Hold on for just a second. Ms. McInnes?
Yes.
Let's get you on screen, just a moment. There you go. Go ahead, please.
Okay, well, for the residents of Detroit don't trust the government from what they have done to the Black community in the past. We will let the residents know the significance of being safe, the different, what they say about the vaccination, but I feel that the residents can make their own personal decision. I'm not here to force anyone to do something that they don't want to do, but at the same time, we need to make sure that we're working on having a healthy city and encouraging our citizens, you know, to get the health care, get the treatment that they may need, go to the doctor, make sure that we can work with the state, getting our people the insurance that they need so that they can make sure to see what illnesses that they may have that they never knew of. That's why so many people have died, because they had issues that a lot of people didn't know that they had, diabetes or high blood pressure. So we want to make sure that they have the health education that they need, but I'm not forcing anyone to take a vaccination if that's their personal decision.
Thank you. Ms. Wilcoxon, you'll be our last responder to this question. Hold on just a second. There you go. Please go ahead.
The vaccination itself was rolled out inappropriately from the federal level on down. It was rolled out as Operation Warp Speed. No one wants to take a vaccine that is created in warp fashion. Secondarily, the vaccine, even to today, is approved only for emergency authorization. That's the use that's been approved. Americans are waiting for full authorization from the federal government. It has not happened. Moreover, when we look at the trust associated with the vaccine itself, the city of Detroit is a very peculiar city in that it is 85% African American. That's peculiar in a good kind of way. So we need a mayor who understands that it would have been her responsibility to go to Washington and explain how different our city is and what our experiences have been and how to quell the fear in our community. When the federal government approved the American Rescue Plan.
Thank you, Ms. Wilcoxon. Your time is up. We'll start this next question with Mr. Barrow. What can the mayor do to increase job opportunities for Detroit residents? Please unmute. There you
I think
go.
that the mayor of the city of Detroit has to be creative. I think he has to reimagine the way jobs are created and to look at those who are wanting these jobs. As I have walked this city and walked its neighborhoods, I noticed lots of closed schools, libraries. When you close a school, you kill a neighborhood. When you close a library, you kill a neighborhood. As I've described, I'm going to open back up some of these schools and I'm going to turn them into training centers. And these training centers are going to create the kinds of jobs that these young people, as part of the refitting of those schools to reopen them, you're going to create real meaningful jobs for Black contractors. And we're going to turn those training schools into things that can teach you how to do the trades that you earn good livings at. We'll also have entrepreneurs who will also hire Detroiters, turning the libraries into computer centers. All of these things are the kinds of things that will generate jobs. I believe also that we have to remove the barriers.
Thank you, Mr. Barrow. Thank you, Mr. Barrow.
Right.
We'll start next with Ms. Brown. Hold on a second, please.
Okay, so
There you go.
first of all, okay, I was waiting on something from you, but when we're talking about creating jobs, first of all, we have to make sure that our population is employable. There is, under our current administration, there has been a lot of new businesses and business opportunities and things like that. But at the same time, we want to make sure that the residents of the city of Detroit are being afforded these opportunities and things like that. We have to make sure that they are employable. First of all, there has to be quality education. The education has been slighted. We got to increase our high school graduation rate. We got to also make sure that we're even in schools giving skill trades and things like that, developing and honing in on their gifts and talents and things of that sort. Also, we know we have an issue, and it's just with the reality in the city of Detroit. I've experienced walking the streets of the city that so many of our young people and our youth, they're not employable because they cannot pass drug tests. We have dispensaries throughout the entire city, all over the place, and many of them are not using it for medical purposes, but recreational purposes. And so when it comes down to even trying to—
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Okay.
Ms. Jones, your response, please. Give us a second, though.
Did we lose Ms. Jones? I don't see her in the list. There she is. I got her. Thank you.
Are you ready for me?
Yes. Sorry.
I'm waiting for you to say, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so when we talk about being employable here in Detroit, I think a few things that my counterparts have hit on already is just making sure that Detroiters have either the background with the skills trades or the educational level to have access to these jobs. There are a lot of jobs that are out here that go unfilled. And when we talk about when we give these big corporations these tax breaks and they don't hire 50% Detroiters, what is the reason why? Because you have a 5-year plan for developing your corporation and building it, but have you had a plan to give these people the skilled trades they need in order to access these jobs? Detroit is over 50% illiterate, and only 14% of us have a education higher than a high school diploma. I work for Google. In Arbor. I commute every single day pre-pandemic. I was the only Black person in our department who was from Detroit. Why isn't it that Detroiters have access to good, high-paying jobs in the first place? We have to talk about, again, inequities in our educational system and how do we complement them and have an offset. Instead of building more prisons, why are we not building more educational programs? We have to ask these questions and address them. The mayor of Detroit should do that too. Thank you.
Ms. Jones. We'll start next with Ms. McInnes. Hold on for just a second. Ms. McInnes, go ahead, please.
We need to change the mindset and the culture of the citizens to stop the victim mentality. We need to encourage our citizens and our returning citizens to take advantage of resources by ensuring information is available on obtaining a GED, skill trade, training programs, career readiness, and other areas that will create more citizens employed in jobs or careers that provide a livable wage to reduce the number of our citizens that's living in poverty. So we just need to make sure that our citizens know that these resources are available, that there are over 30 different skilled trades that a lot of our citizens don't even know about, but we need to make sure that they know about it and make sure they have what they need so they can be able to become employable and get these jobs in the city.
Thank you. Our next response will come from Ms. Wilcoxon. Hold on a moment. Let us get you on the screen. Go ahead, please.
It is the mayor of the city of Detroit's responsibility to understand that she must create the environment for job growth in the city of Detroit. We must have a true community benefits agreement wherein a certain percentage of all jobs created by the city of Detroit will be undertaken by Detroit residents. And it's the corporation's responsibility who receive our contracts to ready our people in that regard. We also need to look at small businesses and understand that Detroit has a number of small businesses who do not have access to capital. Our city does absolutely nothing under the current administration to help them. We are supposed to be looking at the fact that they do not have balance sheets. They do not have financials, access to capital. There should be a small business incubator in the city of Detroit to help our small businesses. Our schools, the city of Detroit needs a mayor who understands that she must be an ambassador to the Detroit Public Schools, promoting our schools at every level.
Thank you. And lastly, we have Mr. Adams to respond to this question, please. Give us a second. Go ahead, please.
I think part of the problem is that our economic development strategy has been based on the home run. We have to do things big. I'm saying we need to do things small. We have more than 38,000 small businesses in the city that have never gotten one benefit from the city of Detroit. And so we got to take the same tools that we use to create tax benefits and assessments for a big business. We got to also provide those for small businesses. We also have to use our economic training dollars much more effectively to support these small businesses. Not everybody wants a job, but clearly some people want entrepreneurship. I also agree with my fellow candidates that job training, skilled trades are things that are all necessary. And ensuring that we have the opportunity for our young people to contract and get jobs on city projects becomes a big, major force in how we create a much better environment, both on entrepreneurship as well as the job training programs here in the city of Detroit.
Thank you. We will have one final question before our opening statements, and we'll begin this final question with Ms. Brown. Ms. Brown, do you support opening recreational marijuana centers in the city of Detroit? Why or why not? Hold on just a moment. Let's get you on screen. Go ahead, please.
So you said recreational marijuana?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now I am, because when you talk about medical marijuana, there's definitely benefits and there's proven benefits to that. I'm not a big proponent when it comes down to recreational marijuana because of the impact that it has on people. I grew up around it, and especially in this race for mayor, I've walked the neighborhoods. I've seen the impact on our people, our young people especially. I see how I know young people as well too, and not even just young people, older people as well too. But I just see the negative impact that it has on them. So when even we're talking about jobs and being employable, I mean, if you're, I was gonna say getting high, but if you're smoking all the time, it's difficult to be able to even pass a drug test. And so just the negative impact that it has had on our youth, especially in the city of Detroit. I look at the youth nowadays as opposed to the youth when I was growing up, and it's a major difference. There's a major difference in the behavior of our young people, and so many of them are openly using marijuana.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Our next responder will be Ms. Jones. We'll give you a minute to get on the screen. Give us a minute. There you go.
So as a person who does not smoke myself, I am still a proponent of recreational marijuana because one, this activity is one that is highly done by people who are of color, specifically Black people, and it has been criminalized. If we're going to criminalize, the use of recreational things, we should criminalize alcohol as well. Alcohol, you have heard of more people being killed by drunk drivers than anything else. I don't understand why we have people or companies that criminalize, again, marijuana, but are we criminalizing cocaine? Are we criminalizing recreational activity that people who are not of color do? We are not. So again, I am a proponent of recreational marijuana because what people do on their free time is what they do. It is legal here in the city of Detroit. We voted for it to be legal here in the state of Michigan. So it is here, and it should just not be criminalized because again, if we're going to criminalize recreational activities as such, we should do the same with alcohol and then also cocaine, which is mostly done by people who are not of color, but it's not happening.
Thank you. We will hear from Ms. McInnes next. Hold on for just a second. Go ahead, Ms. McInnes.
I know there are good benefits for medical marijuana, but for this recreational marijuana, I believe that it is all a setup to keep our young men and women impoverished because we all know that if you have any type of drugs in your system, including marijuana, that you are unemployable. So you want to criminalize people that's with marijuana. A lot of our youth, our men and women have went to prison for it, but at the same time, we have, back in the 70s and 60s and 70s, they came up with heroin. Then they brought that into the Black community. Then they brought in crack. And now these dispensaries, our youth are going back and forth to these dispensaries just like they were going to a crack house with our people that was hooked on crack. So no, I don't believe that it's good for our community because our youth it's just keeping them unable to get employed.
Thank you. Ms. Wilcoxon, we'll hear from you next. Hold on just a moment.
I'm sorry, who was that again?
Ms. Wilcoxon. There you go. Please go ahead.
I am a strong proponent of medicinal marijuana. When people have health challenges, I think that we should give them every form of relief that we can. I am not a proponent of recreational marijuana, but I am a proponent of decriminalizing what would be regarded as recreational use of marijuana. If people choose to smoke marijuana, I do not want the government, and I would be the city's mayor, I would not be promoting the smoking or the ingestion, for that matter, of marijuana. But again, I do want recreational marijuana decriminalized. I do not want it on the schedule of drugs, but I do not want a wholesale marketing campaign around its legitimate use.
Thank you. We'll hear from Mr. Adams next. Hold on for just a second. There you go.
So I am a proponent of recreational marijuana as well as medicinal marijuana. I think part of the issue is that we've got to also incorporate a much more aggressive training programs and education program for our young people to advise them of the problems when you ingest marijuana. It is legal. It is a legitimate business. I think part of what we need to do, however, is reduce the concentration of those types of businesses in the city of Detroit. That also would include reducing the concentration of liquor stores and party stores in the city so that we can begin to reduce the impact that those types of uses have in our city. We had the same battle and challenges when we opened up a casino gaming. And part of the issue is that there's an educational component that must go along with that. There also is a revenue opportunity for the city to capitalize and collect fees and expenses for that. But I think those fees and expenses should be devoted to programs that assist people in moving away from recreational marijuana use and job enhancement and skill training and education.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. And finally, we'll hear from Mr. Barrow on this topic. Give us a second. There you go.
Yes, look at people can be for marijuana, recreational use of marijuana, but the reality is the employer won't hire you if you have it in your system. You don't find these dispensaries out in the suburbs, and most of the customers who come into these dispensaries here in Detroit are white suburbanites coming into the city to buy their marijuana and to go back to where they live. I do not agree that we should have more dispensaries. I support medicinal marijuana, but not recreational. I don't think we should have any more than what we have now, any more so than I think we should have more strip clubs. I think Detroit needs to try to divest itself of everything that causes a loss of hope. We need to provide hope for people, not drugs or not things into the gateway. It's legal, so we got to let it happen. But we've got to provide hope. People turn to these things because they lose hope. And you can't get a job as long as you've got that into your system. That's just the reality of it.
Thank you. We've had a good batch of 8 questions. Thank you to the live audience for supplying so many of those good questions. It's now time for our 2-minute closing statement. And we're going to go in reverse alphabetical order. So Ms. Wilcoxon, we will start with you. You have 2 minutes for a closing statement. Please go ahead.
Detroit, again, I'm Deetta Wilcoxon, contender, not a candidate, for mayor of the city of Detroit. I have been in the trenches for you for the last 40 years. You know me. You have dubbed me the people's advocate, and I wear that designation as a badge of honor. I grew up on the political knees of both Irma Henderson and Coleman Young. I know the city of Detroit. I know that East Siders do not think like West Siders, and West Siders do not think like the people in Southwest Detroit. Detroit is a very complex city that requires a mayor who is competent and able and accessible, who is not afraid to walk the streets of Detroit no matter where her residents are and engage them. Detroit is a very proud town. We have a lot of people who have a lot of ideas. And when it comes to problems, no one understands anyone's problems better than they do. And so I am going to be an engaging and an interactive mayor. I'm going to be out on the streets talking to you. I will be having town hall meetings. I will be sending you mailers. I will be advertising to you. When there is news that you need to know about, I will be about the business of getting that news to you. I will be promoting the city of Detroit everywhere I go. If you cut me, I bleed Detroit blood. Detroit, you know me, Deetta Wilcoxon. I'm asking you to help me to make history. I am running to become the city of Detroit's first female mayor, both competent and battle tested.
Thank you. Ms. McInnes, your closing statement, please. Give us a second. There you go.
Yes, again, I'm Shalita McInnes and I'm running for mayor. I have the experience. I've been working as the budget manager for the city of Detroit for 18.5 years, as well as the second deputy fire commissioner for the city of Detroit. I'm running because we need a mayor that represents us. I'm just like the majority of our citizens. I've been through some of the same up and downs as our residents. I have been working 3 jobs for over the last 23 years. I know the struggles of being a single mother, living here in the city, working for the city, as well as just trying to make ends meet, trying to get childcare for my children when they were younger, just trying to keep our kids safe and out of trouble. I want a city that is customer service based, because the citizens of Detroit are our citizens, and we want to make sure that Detroit, we are solution oriented. Also, we want to make sure that we improve our neighborhoods and not just downtown. I want to bring all areas of Detroit, the east side, the southwest side, the west side, and the east side. Again, we want to bring all these neighborhoods together. We want to bring unity to our city, and we want to make sure.
Thank you, Ms. McInnes. Ms. Jones, your closing statement, please.
Yes. I would like to thank, again, the League of Women Voters, the AKAs, and the Deltas for having me here today for the candidate forum for mayor. Again, my name is Maya Jones, and I am running to be the next mayor of Detroit. My website is mayaformayor.com, and it is very detailed with all of my issues, platforms, and about me for you to learn more beyond this candidate forum. I think something that someone pointed out, Mr. John James, earlier in the forum, was that looking ahead in 2030 and years from now, who are we electing to really progress our city and push our citizens forward, who's going to really engage the people who are young, old, white, black, blue, whatever you may have, it to bring us together to really progress our city and not have a tale of two cities. I believe that I am that candidate. I have been actively engaged and involved in our political process and community activism organizer and in the business arena as well. I am an avid proponent of studying the historical context of policy, racial, gender equity gaps that has constantly been in our system dating back to the establishment of our Constitution, and how do we eradicate those gaps, specifically when it comes to Black people, people who are of color, because we have been historically oppressed. Just like we say, Black lives matter, that does not mean that other lives matter, but we have to think about the equity that has not happened in our city for a long time, and how do we progress people who have been systematically oppressed for so long and bring them to the forefront and focus on them. Again, my name is Maya Jones, and I'm a deep proponent in making sure that we lift our people up and bridge the gap between the old and the young so that we can progress our city fully. We have to uplift each other, come together, because we are in the same battle. We are all coming together. And I'm so glad that me and my opponents have agreed that whoever makes it past the primary, that we will come together and gather behind that one person and push them forward to the finish line past November. So again, my name is Maya Jones, and I really do hope that I am the candidate you are voting for. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brown, your closing statement. Hold on just a second. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. Again, I am Kiwana Brown, the People's Mayor, building the city God's way by putting him first and adding value to people. And so the question is, why me, why now? Simply put, I tell people all the time that I am running for mayor not just because of interest or even a desire to remove somebody out of their place, but I'm running for mayor because I truly believe that I have been called to be the mayor of the city of Detroit for such a time as this. And the purpose behind that is to preserve our city. And that's twofold, to preserve our future, and that's twofold, the future of our city, but also our future posterity. Not prosperity, but posterity, that's generations to come. We have to position the generations that are coming behind us, because they are truly our leaders of tomorrow. Our young people need some serious positioning. We are instructed as the older to teach the young, to train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he get older, he won't depart. We have not successfully done our job until we position generations to be able to stand on the foundation that we build in this city. And I'm telling you, we have a generation that's wild, radical. I tell people that they're being raised by Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Cardi B and Jay-Z, and not to knock none of them, but they need some solid leadership. They need people who can relate to them. They need bold, transparent, and compassionate leadership. DPS says it like this: when students rise, we all rise. And so I come to the table with nearly 2 decades of experience in public service. My background extends to business, leadership, nonprofit, education, and sales, and also the religious sector. I've been serving as overseer with my husband for years now in the religious arena, and I'm just looking to bring my skill set and my passion for serving people to serve this city as the next mayor of the city of Detroit. So I'm asking you, Detroit, to get out there and cast your vote August 3rd for Kiwana Brown, the People's Mayor. Again, Kiwana Brown, the People's Mayor, on August 3rd. I'm on social media at Brown the People's Mayor. My website is Brown the People's Mayor. Check me out to learn more about me. If you like what you see, I would love your support and your vote. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Mr. Barrow, your closing statement, please.
Yes, thank you. I want to thank the League of Women Voters. I want to thank Delta Sigma Theta, and to my wife's AKA sisters. I ski-wee all the time, and I have the honeydew, so I completely understand it. I want Detroiters to know I love this city. My wife loves this city, as do my 2 children, born and raised and educated here. We see so much potential, and Detroit has the ability to control all of the state of Michigan. I'm uniquely situated because my background is that of a certified public accountant. So all of our issues in Detroit stem from the finances. We have financial oversight over us, and it's something that prevents us from being able to realize our maximum potential. It's time to reimagine Detroit, what it would be like with a real Detroiter running the city. Albert Cobo was a lawyer. Louis Mariani was a lawyer. Jerome Kavanaugh was a lawyer. Roman Gribbs was a lawyer. Dennis Archer was a lawyer. Kwame Kilpatrick was a lawyer. Mike Duggan is a lawyer. And we've got 4 or 5 lawyers running now. For the first time, we need to do something different. We need to reimagine. We have all of this new energy coming into Detroit. I love the new energy. I want to bring young people into government. If Maya will let me work in her administration, I would look forward to trying to be able to mentor. But on the other hand, if she will let me also, if she decides not to, I would love to be able to mentor her. That's the future for Detroit. This is the energy that we have a duty and a responsibility to bring forward. My name is Tom Darrow. I'm a real Detroiter, and I want to be your mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barrow. A link for the recording for tonight's forum will be available on the Detroit. Oh gosh, Mr. Adams, I'm so sorry.
I think after Tom went through his lawyer spiel, I guess I'm not supposed to speak. But the one thing about this lawyer is I'm actually a different kind of a lawyer. I'm a very progressive lawyer, a lawyer who has a tremendous amount of experience in social issues.
I just wanted to ask her to please have Cheryl give you your full 2 minutes there. I'm so sorry.
That's quite all right, because I can, being a lawyer, the one thing I can do is I can get my answer to the question in within the time that's allotted. And so when I said I'm a different kind of lawyer, I am because I'm a very progressive lawyer. If you look at my platform and background, all you see is progressive action, whether it's serving as the first clerk, African-American clerk to Anna Dix Taylor, federal district court judge, whether it's working as a litigation associate in the Clark Hill firm, whether it's working as executive assistant to Coleman Young, whether it's working as the general counsel for the Detroit Board of Education, whether it's working as deputy mayor for Kwame Kilpatrick, dealing with very difficult issues, whether it's serving as elected school board president, whether it's serving as interim director of the Detroit Water and Sewer Department, which did not flood when I ran the department, whether it's serving as an adjunct professor of law at Wayne State University or an adjunct professor of management at Lawrence Tech. The skill set that I bring to this table is unique, and my understanding and commitment and closeness to the community is unmatched. Whether it's serving the social justice ministry for Triumph Church, feeding the hungry, providing digital devices in our community, doing all things necessary to make this community work for itself. Whether it's working with the Michigan Welfare Rights Organization in homeless eviction prevention, whether it's working with the ACLU and water rights affordability, you're not going to find a candidate who has a better vision for how we bring our city together. At the end of the day, this is really all about feel. A real Detroiter is someone who loves the city. A real Detroiter is someone whose kids have gone to the city. A real Detroiter is a person who's hung out at every football and basketball court in the city. A real Detroiter is someone who hangs out at Baker's Keyboard Lounge. A real Detroiter is someone who loves this city, who's committed to this city. Let's not get caught up on labels, because I think that's what's driving the wrong agenda. Let's get caught up on action and what we can do to bring the city together and move it forward. I am Anthony Adams, and I'm a candidate and a contender for Mayor of Detroit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. I apologize for the earlier goof, but sure glad you interrupted me. A link for the recording for tonight's forum will be available on the Detroit League of Women Voters website and the websites of our partners. You can also get information on the candidates at vote411.org, which is linked on the League's website. Contact information for the candidates who responded is also there. I want to again thank all of the candidates running for office and for participating in our forum tonight. We're also grateful to our partners, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Tau Alpha Omega Chapter, and Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Detroit Alumni Chapter. Democracy is not a spectator sport, and by participating in this forum, you have all demonstrated your commitment to better government. Before considering the candidates featured in tonight's forum, we urge voters to review the responses of the candidates on the League's nonpartisan online voter guide at vote411.org. At that site, voters can also verify their voter registration and check on your polling place. Primary day is Tuesday, August 3rd. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Remember that you can register to vote through Election Day by visiting the city clerk's office, and anyone can request an absentee ballot. An absentee ballot application must be filled out first, and again, a visit to the city clerk's office is the best way to handle this process since we're so near Election Day. When you vote in person, you will be asked for a picture ID, but if you don't have a picture ID, you don't have it with you, you can still vote by signing an affidavit of identity. Don't be turned away. We urge you all to be participants in our democracy by voting on August 3rd and making educated choices. This concludes our forum for this evening. Thank you, candidates, live audience, and viewers who are watching the recording. Thank you so much. Good night.